Titchmarsh.
Welcome to my eponymous show. My goal today to spread peace and harmony throughout Britain. From this day forth, there shall be no more arguments about whose turn it is to put the bins out. There shall be no more nagging nor silent sulking. How, I hear you ask? I said how, I hear you ask. Well, I've got a secret weapon in the form of this woman. Psychologist Dr. Linda Papadopoulos claims she has a manual on how to operate the opposite sex and avoid arguments, and today she'll be telling us exactly what's in it. Also coming up, the DJ who banned a Frankie Goes to Hollywood single from Radio 1 because he didn't like the cover. DJ Mike Reed's on the show. Plus, the fearless correspondent who spent years reporting the news from the front lines, Kate Adie's here to tell us about the role of women in World War I. And singing for us tonight, it's the man who says mobile phones are the bane of his life. He's been known to leap into the audience to confiscate them. Alfie Boe is performing for us later. First, time for me to don my lab coat. Oh, here we go. Right, don my lab coat and prepare to be enlightened as we delve into the world of scientific, thank you, Frankenstein, scientific discovery with our resident scientist, Dr. Emily Grossman. Here she is. Welcome back. So the calm Alfie Boe gives a special performance just for us, and we'll be chatting to Mike Reed about his life behind the DJ decks. But first, it's time to bring the battle of the sexes to an end by learning how to keep peace with our partners. Teaching us how, Dr. Linda Papadopoulos. So, I know it's kind of fabled, but why do men and women have such a problem communicating with one another?
Do you know what? The way that we grow up, the way that we're socialized, means it's going to dictate the way that we communicate. So, for example, the very fact that when boys are little, we still do that thing of stiff upper lip, don't cry. And with girls, relationships are very much about connecting and sharing emotion. Means as they get older, something very simple is that girls will be much more able to share with emotions, to speak about them, to ask for help, and boys will still find it more difficult. Likewise, we get scripts as we get older over what's important about us, don't we? So we think that the most important thing about girls is how they look, the most important thing about boys is making lots of money and being strong. So again, when we get older, where do our insecurities lie? For girls, around the way they look, for boys, around how accomplished they are. And these things will also feed into communication.
Simple as that, really, isn't it? Well, we now have some typical scenes that will be expertly acted out in front of us, and Linda will explain what's going wrong. Please welcome our actors, Alfie Boe, and from our audience, Carol. Carol, you're expected to come here and have a pleasant day sitting in the audience. Well, are you all right? You up for this?
I'm up for this, yeah.
Well, acting opposite Alfie Boe. You know,
I love this
show. She was sitting quite quietly. Oh, would you mind just coming up here? OK, now then, this first scene is called The Argument. And Alfie has Alfie has just finished eating. Have you? Right, OK, so this is a typical scenario. Off you go.
Are you finally finished with that?
Yes, thank you. Is there something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong.
Are you sure? You seem to be upset.
If you have to ask them, there's no point telling you.
Carol, you've done this before, haven't you? So what was going wrong there?
Well, very plainly is that when we need to say what we feel. Yes, we'd like our partner to read our mind, but it's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. So when something is wrong, instead of being what psychologists call passive-aggressive, which means I'm going to pretend everything's fine, but I'm going to be very cold and not look at you, is to say, well, actually, you know what, Alfie, it's just taking you forever to eat, and you haven't noticed my whatever, the fact that I've gotten a new haircut.
But she says to him, are you finished with that? What does he say? No, not yet. I mean, how could he have avoided that?
Well, no, it's not Alfie's fault. In this case, sorry, Carol, it's your fault. So she should have been able to say, when he said there's something wrong, to say, well, actually, yes, there is, and then be clear. And that way,
Yeah, Carol.
Yeah.
Alfie?
Sorry.
Scene 2, the complaint. The woman has just arrived home after a busy day at a new job.
I've been having such a hard time at work lately. The boss is piling on the pressure and there's no one to talk to. I kind of miss my old department. I hate being the new person.
Oh, that's easy. What you need to do is just talk to that boss of yours and tell him to lay off. Be assertive and he'll get the message.
Well, you see, that was helpful.
No, it wasn't. He's missing the point. She wants to talk about her feelings. She's saying, I feel left out, I'm not connecting with anyone. And men, this is a really interesting thing, men are conditioned when they hear a problem to solve it. Here's the solution. Women are conditioned when they have a problem to share it, to be understood, to be heard. And the problem here is that, Alfie, sorry, this one lies with you. He's not really listening to what Carol's saying. Instead, he could have said something like, it sounds like you're having a really hard time. Is it really hard not being able to have anyone you can connect to? Is there no one that you can connect to there to be able to experience that? So that way...
You see, Alfie's from the north. He knows that... he knows that a trouble shared is a trouble dragged out till bedtime. Fine, move on. Right, OK. Fine. This is called the nag and the withdrawal. The man has his feet up and is relaxing at home. The woman walks in.
You always do this. You just put your feet up and you don't do anything to help.
Sorry, I'm just tired.
That's the other thing you do. You just walk off when I'm in the middle of talking to you.
OK, whatever you say.
OK. Right.
All right, so the issue here is that the more one of the people in the relationship nags, the more likely it is that the other person withdraws. The more likely that someone withdraws, the more likely someone nags. So you get this vicious cycle that the more I nag you, the more you want to stay away from me. Now, nagging is actually not productive at all. When there's a problem, instead of going over and over and over again, it's important to talk about what it is, but tone it. It's not to say you always do this, but to say, when you do this, this is what I feel. Because that way, you can't tell me what I'm feeling is wrong. So you don't come from a place of defense. Also, Alfie, loved the walking off. Probably not the best idea.
Yeah, but you know what they say, it's only nagging if you listen. This last scene is called The Interruption. Our loving couple are at a dinner party. The woman's talking to her friends about a recent holiday, but the man won't let her get to the end of a sentence without interrupting. Carol.
It was amazing. The hotel was fab, but the swimming wasn't great. When we got to the beach, there was this huge wave.
I wouldn't say it was that huge. She makes it sound like it was a tsunami. It was just windier than usual.
Look, I'm not saying it was enormous.
The thing is, it was a nice hotel, but it's so expensive at this time of year. Wouldn't you agree, darling? Darling, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, darling? Agree!
Isn't this the sign of a couple who've been married a long time because they finish each other's sentences?
I don't think so. No, this is actually really interesting. Men will interrupt more than women, and women will back down when men interrupt.
I don't know how you can say that.
Well, statistically speaking, they do. And actually, it's not just in relationships, but even in business settings. And one of the things women are learning now, and this is really important, girls, is to not let guys interrupt. To say, I'm sorry, let me just finish, please. To allow yourselves to do that, because fundamentally, we're finding, even in school, that boys are more likely to interrupt not other boys, but girls, and girls consistently back down. So in this case, is that, a relationship, it seems that there's a lot going on there more than the interrupting with the whole not listening thing. But the interrupting thing is something we can all do. Stop it. Something we can all do something about. Don't you think, Alan? I'm finished. Thank you so much for not interrupting.
There's another minute to go on this item, and you can fill it now.
Anyway, so the other thing...
And you would, I know you would. It is, so we both need to work harder, don't we? Reading the subtext, really, I suppose. Alfie, it happens to you, presumably. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I've just learnt over the years of being married just to keep quiet.
Carol, what about you?
I'd keep quiet.
You keep quiet.
You keep quiet.
Yeah, I'd keep quiet.
Well, this is an item about communication. You guys have really been listening.
No, I've learned that the most valuable words in any relationship are yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Well, it means you don't row then, do you, really? My thanks to our lovely couple, Alfie Boe and Carol, and, of course, the woman who solves all our problems, very sensibly as it happens, Dr. Luna Papadopoulos. Now, he's the man with the sensational tenor voice, not Mickey Manchester, but the man who has legions of fans around the world. He already has 4 hit albums under his belt and is about to release his 5th. Please welcome the wonderful Alfie Boe. Alfie Boe, having undergone marriage guidance counselling earlier, it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
There's one thing I know that you absolutely hate at concerts. We got a hint of it earlier. What is it?
Yeah, it's mobile phones going off. I was doing a concert and a mobile phone went off, and I made a bit of a big deal about it. I answered the call, and I spoke to this lady for about 20 minutes during the show, talking on the phone. And then she said, I was trying to convince her it was me. And then when I finally convinced her it was me, she said, could I speak to my daughter, please?
But hang on, I heard you got your comeuppance on this, though.
What
With
happened?
your own mobile phone.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, that did go, that went off. It was my mother phoning me.
What, you were wearing it in the concert?
I had my mobile phone in my jacket and I'd forgotten to turn it off. And it went off, and it was my mother calling me. So, sorry, Mum, I'm a bit busy at the minute.
The album's called Serenata.
Yeah.
Wonderful Italian. What does Serenata mean?
It actually means to sing for your honour. That's what the actual translation of these... It's a serenade, but the actual word serenade means to sing for your honour. And that, the album is full of romantic Italian songs that I just like to...
Now, tell me, because I often think, you know, if you go to the opera, you go to music sung in another language, it seems to me that Italian must be about the best language to sing, because it's got such long vowels. Is that true?
It's true. It's a beautiful language to sing in. When you sit on the vowels and you can just open the voice and let it blossom. And in a place like an arena... I'll be doing an arena tour as well later on in the month, but in a place like that, you just open the voice up and let it fly.
And you've got, you know, the likes of Pavarotti and co, who've made these songs, these Italian songs, famous, you know, Funiculi, Funicula, things like that. There is this kind of wonderful sort of romantic notion to them, isn't there?
There is. I mean, these guys made them very famous, but they grew up with them, you know. They fishermen, farmers, everybody in that nation sing those songs. You know, it's not just the opera singers and pop singers. You know, everybody sings them.
Well, now it's your turn.
OK.
OK, so that's all we've got time for. Thanks to all my guests singing us out of the show with the song which I shall try and give my best Italian accent to, Luna Malinconia, from his new album Serenata. It is Alfie Boe.
Ma tu